And welcome to another episode of the Browns Blitz. This is episode 19 on Tuesday, September 17th, 2019. I'm here with my co-host Rod Bloom. Rod, how's your week going?
It's going good. I mean, we started off with a Browns victory, so what could be better?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It was great waking up this morning, going to work, and being able to talk about my team, the Cleveland Browns, at work after Monday Night Football, and talking about a victory. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels different, you know. I mean, the Browns haven't. I don't know. I know they talked about it last night. They obviously don't play on Monday nights a lot, going back. So just a Monday night victory, I guess it's been forever. So just the feeling was unique and just kind of felt special.
Yeah, this is the first of 4 primetime games that we have. We have a next one. We have another one coming up, which is our next game, also this Sunday versus the Rams, but we will jump into that later. We've got a special guest with us tonight, actually someone that attended the game last night as a Browns fan, as his first NFL football game ever. So looking forward to talking to him in a second. But let's jump right into it, Rod, and start it off how we always do with our blitzed beverage. What are you drinking tonight, Rod? I'm sure it's a beer.
It is a beer, but it's not an ordinary beer. It's a beer I've been looking for quite a while. And
oh boy,
I'm gonna give a shout out to Chad Painter, who mentioned this beer. He tried this on a podcast with me a long time ago. It's the platform Yammy Yammy, and I've been looking for this beer for several months. Finally found it while I was in Columbus over the weekend, and I bought a 6-pack, and I'm drinking one now, and it's a sweet potato beer. It's slightly spiced caramel smooth is what it says, and that's pretty darn accurate. It's, you know, if you just like plain beer, you know, it might not taste exactly like what you're used to drinking, so maybe it's not for everybody, but I think it's got a slightly different taste from most beers, and I think it's got a very smooth texture. I just think it's really something different that I'm really enjoying it. I think it's got a nice rich taste to it, not too much just like a sweet potato. Maybe just kind of a little bit sweet, but not too sweet. So I would recommend it. If you like, trying something a little bit different, I would definitely give it a try.
Rod, I'm just disgusted. I like my sweet potatoes on my plate around Thanksgiving, or with a steak instead of a baked potato with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. With a beer, like coming from a guy that doesn't like beer as it is, and you put it into a beer, a liquid form, I'm so turned off right now.
Well, no offense, you're just not used to trying different things in beer. You're a guy who likes only a few beers. So I understand. I understand why it doesn't sound good to you.
I'm gonna ask our special guest here in a second what he thinks about that, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Let's do that.
Maybe you'll be the odd one out, Rod.
All right. I want to hear about the bourbon you're drinking tonight, Sam.
Not drinking bourbon tonight. Actually drinking a Moscow Mule with some Svedka vodka, some ginger beer, and a little bit of lime juice and some bitters. So it was
a way to swap it up.
Again, it was hot as hell today. It's going to be in the mid-90s all week. It hit 95 today. It's just absolutely awful. But I wanted to cool off and do the podcast drinking a nice, refreshing, citrusy summer drink, and I picked Moscow Mule. So you can also do what is called a Kentucky Mule, which in place of vodka, you would use bourbon. But I wasn't feeling that tonight. And for me, I don't want to waste good bourbon
mixing it like that.
So I was better off just using the vodka that I had. So
good choice.
So good stuff. Again, the listeners out there, who are you more like? Do you like Rod in beer, or are you like me in liquor, or fancy drinks?
Yeah. I'm a little snobby with my beer, but Sam's a little fancy with his drink. So yeah,
See, now you make it
let us
sound like
know.
drinking martinis.
Well, I mean, you're a little sophisticated in your taste with the bourbon. There's nothing wrong with that.
I had one martini before in my life, and it was extra dirty, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life. It was gross. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was on a business dinner. That's another story. Guys, tonight we have with us a special guest. Like I said, he's very familiar to us. He's more familiar with Rod because they spent some time together at Cleveland Sports Talk, and then he actually came over during the merge over to Big Play, and so I got to know him pretty well. We have Menachem Ikovitz, and he is one heck of a guy. He's doing a great series, and you can find that on bigplay.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Menudo_man. That is MENUDO_man. He's got great content. He's a heck of a guy. He's just a really, really good person. I told Rod after the first time I talked to him on the phone when we had merged Big Play and CST, and I was like, there's just something about this guy. Like, he's just genuinely a good person, and I just felt better after talking to him on the phone. So I hope you all get that vibe after you hear him. Again, here is Menachem Ikovitz, and he is our special guest for the evening. So, Menachem, welcome to the Browns Blitz.
Thank you very much for having me. After that introduction, the pressure is definitely on. So
pressure to have fun
I
only.
hope I could step up to the plate and do what I need to do.
Just speaking the truth, Menachem. Just speaking the truth.
I appreciate
That's right.
it much.
Menachem, let's keep it with the Blitz beverage. Are you having a beverage right now?
So right now I'm not.
Okay.
But I did partake yesterday when I was at the game. Before the game I tailgated with my Browns Backers Club, the Browns Backers Club of North Jersey. They'll get upset with me if I don't mention them by name. And my one of the people who took care of the alcoholic beverages, he knows I'm a big fan of Yingling, so Bobby made sure that there were Yinglings for me and for others also. But I had a couple yesterday, so that was what I had. So
very nice. So what's your thoughts on the Yammy and on the Moscow Mule?
So they both sound interesting. I would definitely be interested in tasting both of them. That being said, I'm more with Sam that usually I like my sweet potatoes, cut up cut up with red potatoes and roasted. It gives it a nice creaminess. But I'm willing to try it. I'll say that.
Fair enough.
So I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say now. Anyway. I'm so disturbed by that. Like all I can picture right now is like this like baby food texture in a bottle. Like that's all I can think of right now.
I can assure you guys it looks just like a regular beer. I've already posted a picture of it on Twitter. If you're that concerned that it looks like baby sweet potato food, it's not what it looks like.
Okay. All right. Let's get right into it, guys. Browns won last night, I should say, less than 24 hours against the New York Jets. The game was in New York. Menachem, I'm assuming that's why you went. Not that you wouldn't go to a Cleveland game at Cleveland or in Cleveland, but it's just close to home, so why not, right?
Exactly.
And tell us this was your first ever NFL game.
Yeah, so this was my first time ever going to an NFL game. There had been times when the Browns would come to New York in the past, either to play the Giants or the Jets, that I thought of going. And then a lot of times we'd look at the schedule, and what would end up happening is my father and I would realize that the game was like around the time of one of the Jewish holidays. So we wouldn't be able to go because of the holiday. So that's what happened a few times. And then there was one time we were thinking of going, and that was that during the summer we were talking about it, and that year my father passed away during that summer, so I didn't end up going then. And then this opportunity came when they announced that the Jets were going to be hosting the Browns on a Monday Night Football game. The president of our Browns Backers Club sent out an email trying to gauge interest in who would be willing to go, and he gave like a general price range of what we'd be looking at, and I said, yeah, I'd love to go. If it worked. I saw the date; it didn't coincide with any of the Jewish holidays, which are coming up in a few weeks. So I said, yeah, I'm in. So that's the long of it, not the short of it.
How many people were you with?
So from the group, we probably had about 20 to 30 people or so, I'd say.
Oh,
in that range.
That's quite a group, man.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I've been part of this Browns Backers Club this is my third year that I've been affiliated with them, associated with them. And it was nice, like looking around the stadium and seeing so much orange and brown, but it was nicer just sitting around with my friends basically and just enjoying the game. And that was just it helped make the experience much more enjoyable because I was sitting and joking with my friends that I've made over these last 2 years.
It sure looked like there were, just from some of the pictures I saw, there were a lot of Cleveland fans set up outside tailgating.
Yeah, did you see the tailgate was crazy?
Yeah, so there were three areas that I saw of tailgating where there was like a concentration of Browns fans. One of them is I think they're called the New York City Backers. That had a big group, and the Muni lot backers. They have a bus. They came into New York. They're going to like all the games this year.
Wow.
They came into New York. We met them on Sunday actually. We met up with them to see the bus and everything. It was amazing. And so they had an area, and then there were like little pockets. We had a nice little section by us. We were like towards the back, and we had a nice little section. It was there was like three little tents. We had like the real food, like burgers and hot dogs and wings and other items.
And sweet potato beer?
We did not have sweet potato beer. There was Yingling, there was Malt Bite, and then there was another section of like the snack items. There was cakes, cookies, pretzels, chips. I brought a platter of fruit. It was good. It was really it was fun.
Sounds like a great time. It sounds like you had a lot of company as well.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, could you see where the Jets fans were tailgating too? Did the Browns fans outweigh the Jets fans in tailgating?
So the area that we were in was like the farthest back parking lot, and we were on like a grassy area there was us, and then next to us were Jets fans. Some of them were like just a family grilling, and then there were others that had larger groups. People were playing that game with the beanbags and that they toss into the thing. I don't know what it's called. I was watching it. It was my first time.
Cornhole. Yeah.
Cornhole. It was my first time actually watching it. It was so amazing just watching them play. I was trying to figure out the rules. I still don't get it, but whatever. It was fun to watch. People were throwing footballs around. The jerseys that people were wearing, the Jets jerseys, Browns jerseys, were just unbelievable. You know.
How were the fans to you? Were the Jets fans civil? Were they nice? Were they rude and kind of just annoying? Like what, obnoxious? What would you say?
So the ones that I was close to, that I was near, they were harmless. They were, oh, Browns stink. Okay, yeah, okay, the Jets stink. Like, nothing so egregious, nothing too bad. I was a little concerned, I'll be honest, on the way out. I made sure that I walked with a few people from my backers club because I was a little scared that I wouldn't make it to my car or something. So I made sure I walked with a few of the people to, stay safe.
Gotcha.
Safety in numbers, as they say.
There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like your first game was just an all-around amazing experience, and I'm so glad that you got to walk away from it also with the W. So
Right. That definitely helped the situation. I'll say that.
Oh.
Had we not won, it would not be as enjoyable right now.
for sure. All right, well, let's dive in a little bit on the details and the stats of the game. Menachem, please feel free to jump in, obviously, and we want to hear, firsthand how it was and what you thought as well. Rod, go ahead, and what was your overall, opinion of the game? Where do you think we stand? Things we need to do better on, and so on. So.
Well, I think you have to be happy with a 23-3 win. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of things to work on, but you just look at for me, it's about the overall improvement in this game versus the Tennessee game, and they did a lot of things a lot better. First of all, and I'll be honest, I didn't see the final penalty count in this game. Sam, I don't know if you have that or not.
I've got it right here. Cleveland had 9 for 85 yards, and the Jets had 12 for 89.
Wow, you know what? That's a lot. That's a lot more than what I would have guessed. It just seemed like maybe they were spread out. I thought, and I'm kind of going on a sidebar here, but I thought this game was officiated a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I just did. The only thing I really had an issue with was the whole visor thing with Odell. I felt like they kind of waited, and maybe the Jets did that. Maybe it was the timing of their complaint, but making Odell come off the field on a 3rd and goal at the 5 was kind of bullcrap.
Right.
Check that at the beginning of the game, and if you're not going to complain about it then he ought to be able to play with it.
Right.
But other than that, and I'm sure there were some calls that weren't perfect, but I thought the officiating crew did a nice job. I don't have any complaints, and I'm sure people are, either shocked to hear that or they think I'm saying that because the Browns won. But I thought the calls on Miles were correct. The only thing with Miles is you never know when he's called offsides, if he's actually offsides or if he's just really so damn fast I can't even tell.
Right.
So, but the roughing the passer calls, those are going to get called. Aside from the penalties on Miles, I thought Miles played, he was ridiculous last night. Nobody could stop him. Seeing him get 3 sacks and leading the league with 5 sacks after 2 games. He's a guy on a mission this year. He needs to rein it in a little bit and not hurt his team with the penalties, but he just, being the leader of that defensive front, hopefully we'll see some other guys step up a little bit more, but they did a great job. They did a great job of containing the Jets and the quarterback, whoever happened to be in there, and just kind of shutting down whatever offense the Jets were trying to muster, pretty much throughout the game. Offensively, obviously the line played a lot better. I haven't seen grades, but for me, I think they just looked better. They opened up a few holes for Chubb, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement with the offensive line. But the first issue was getting all those stupid penalties out of the way. And let's face it, 9 penalties is still a lot. I had no idea they had that many, but it's half as many as 18. So if you can keep improving on that, you're really helping yourselves. For me, Baker still does not look comfortable out there, guys. Coming to the line, ready to hike the ball with 3 seconds on the play clock every time is not working. You got to be ready sooner. So those are some of my thoughts. So what'd you guys think?
Go ahead, Menachem.
So I definitely agree. The offensive line during the game, they did not look as porous as they did in the Tennessee game, which was nice. It also helped that you had the starters playing from beginning to end. That was definitely an advantage of that. The stuff you were saying, Rod, about Baker not looking comfortable, I was sitting in the stands and we were talking. Yeah, we saw it. Like, it was clear. It was not. Something was going on, and
do you think it was his wrist?
I don't know if it's the wrist. I don't know if I'm going to say something. There were a lot of plays where he was directing some of the guys of where to go, and it was like last minute directing, And I'm wondering if some of these guys like the what's Dearness Johnson, sorry.
Yes.
Dearness Johnson a few times was like not where Baker wanted him to be, and he's trying to like move him around. I think that the fact that Dontrell Hilliard is injured right now is more of an issue than we realize, because Dontrell Hilliard's usually in the third down back when Johnson was in now, and he does a great job, and it just didn't seem like it fit as well. And I don't know if there's, it could just be that it happened to be in that play that I noticed it, or it could be it's a harbinger of other things. I don't know, but yeah.
I agree with you guys. Baker just he just doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable. I don't know if he's anticipating having to scramble. He's holding on to the ball way too long.
Yeah.
I wish he'd throw underneath more. Because guys are open, like you said, Ernest Johnson or Chubb or guys were open, but he just wasn't making the throws. It wasn't seeing down the field as well as he normally does. Or that we have seen him do in the past.
Well, and Baker even talked about that after the game in his little presser. He even said he needs to check down and take the completion. And he's not doing it. He knew that from against the Titans, and he continued to pretty much play the same way against the Jets he did against the Titans, trying to go downfield more often than he really needs to.
Well, it's like he's afraid to scramble. Like, just run. Like, there's plenty of times I was like, take off, go, and he wouldn't go. So I don't know if that's Freddie Kitchens saying that he needs. I have no idea, and he doesn't look comfortable. So I hope he turns it around. He's going to need to this weekend against LA for sure. Aaron Donald is going to be an absolute problem, major problem for us, and I really, really hope that we need to get dialed in quickly. One of the things that I took away from it, I just thought that Freddie's play calling was a little bit questionable. What did you all think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you. It's definitely not always calling what you would. I don't want to say expect, because you don't want to be predictable. But I agree. Definitely seems to be overthinking it sometimes, and just not just when you're looking at like a 3rd and 5, and you have these slow developing plays behind the line of scrimmage. I don't like that. Throw the ball 5 yards down the field. Right. Set something up, do something. I'm with you. I think maybe Freddie's. I don't want to say get too fancy, because Freddie's good at dialing up some plays, but there's a time to do it, and there's a time to definitely try to just get the number of yards that you need.
The offensive chemistry as a whole is just off. It's not the explosive offense that we saw last year, and so I don't know. I hope they can get it together. Like I said, they're gonna be playing a really, really good Rams team this weekend, and so I hope we can really start putting it together. Another thing that I took away is we have got to feed Chubb more. I don't know why we're not running the ball more with him. Looking at the stats, we had 21 rushing attempts for the whole game, 21, and for a total of 70 yards. The Jets had 93 yards and 24 attempts. We averaged 3.3 yards per rush, and I just don't know why we're not utilizing Nick Chubb. I just don't get it.
I agree with you. There's no excuse to be 2 games into the schedule, and Nick Chubb has 17 carries the first week, 18 carries the second week. What are we saving him for? Kareem Hunt should be, and I know he had the surgery. Hopefully he's ready week 9. I don't know exactly, but the idea is Kareem Hunt's going to be on this team. He's going to be available to take some of the pounding, off of Chubb. What are you saving Chubb for? Give the guy 25 carries a game.
I don't know. And more importantly, Hunt is going to be fresh. He is going to be fresh.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That's AFC North football's, pound the run. I don't know why we're not utilizing him more. Menachem, what are your thoughts on Chubb?
I think, and I agree with what you're saying. I also think that this would have been the perfect game to give Chubb his 25 carries because we had the lead throughout the game.
Right.
So slow it down a little bit, give him the ball, let him grind out a few yards. He had a few, no gains or minimal gains, but then he had a few big runs also. You're not going to get 50 yards on every rushing play. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it and keep getting the 2 to 5 yard plays so that you could bust out the 20 yarders. And the touchdown one was beautiful. When that happened, the half of the place went quiet and half of the place went nuts.
That was it was a spectacular play. The offensive line did just a perfect job. I mean, they all did exactly what they were supposed to do and opening up that hole for him. I mean, give them more carries. Let the offensive line work on their craft a little bit here, and let's try to get that running game going.
Yeah, I mean, Chubb only had 62 yards total, and his long was 19. I mean, I would have, like Menachem said, this would have been a great game for him to really pound the run, and I easily would have guessed that he would have had at least 100 yards, but definitely that wasn't the case. Talking about Baker Mayfield, he was 19 of 35 for 325 yards. He averaged 9.3 yards per pass, or per completion, I'm sorry. He had 1 TD, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times for 20 yards. He had a QBR rating of 55. 83.6. So he threw for 325 still. I know 89 of that was on Odell's, long touchdown pass at the start of the third. But, 325, and this is not the Baker Mayfield that we're used to. Gosh, I can only imagine what he's going to be like when he's completely dialed in. I can think specifically right now of, 3 or 4 passes that were long or over the heads of the receivers. Gosh, you got to think that's close to 400 yards right there. So, but yeah,
I just wanted I was going to jump in here just real quick on the Baker Mayfield thing. Somebody tweeted at me during the game, a Chiefs fan, that Baker is not in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes. Okay. I never said he was. I think he just tweeted at me because I'm the Browns contact, apparently. But I didn't reply to it. But it was funny. They sent that tweet at me, and then within a couple minutes, the graphic came up that showed quarterbacks most yards through their first 16 games. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it was Mahomes.
Right. And
then it was, at that point, it was Andrew Luck, and then it was Baker. And I don't know if Baker caught Andrew Luck or not. He probably didn't, but that's through 16 games, and I don't know if Baker. I'm trying to think back how much Baker played in that very first game. When he came in for Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
So it's less than 16 whole games for Baker. So guess what, guys? Maybe he didn't throw 50 touchdown passes, but he's still in the conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
So. Sorry to interrupt you, Sam.
No, I think I know exactly the graphic that you're talking about. It was like 4,235 yards through 16 games, third most all time through 16, or quarterback through their first 16. So
yeah, he was within 100 yards of Luck when they showed it.
Yeah,
I don't think he had a whole lot after that.
Yeah. Let's see. Jumping in next, I had something that was worrisome to me is Denzel Ward continues to struggle. I'm looking at the stats for the defense, and he was second in total tackles for 7. But gosh, you wouldn't think it, and you wouldn't. He looked terrible. He looked terrible again. I don't know what's going on. He's missing tackles. Our team as a whole isn't wrapping up. The leader in tackles last night was Joe Schobert with 13, 10 solo. And then obviously you had Myles Garrett, who had a big night. He had 5 QB hits. He had 5 tackles, 3 solo, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. But I really expect more from Denzel Ward. I don't know if that's just because he had such a good season as a rookie, but he's not looking like the corner that we had last year by any means.
Okay, so answer this for me, guys. What does he look like? Does he look like he's not trying? Does he look like he's slower? Does he look like he doesn't know what's going on? What do you guys think?
I think it's both. I mean, I think it's a little of everything you just said. Like, I think he looks to me like a rookie cornerback for whatever reason, and he does look like he's not really engaged and aware of what's happening. He looks confused.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing it up is you guys know he bulked up a little bit. I don't know how much weight he put on, but I'm wondering if that slowed him down any. And then we've got a new defensive coordinator in with a new scheme, so I'm kind of wondering which of either of those two factors it could be.
Yeah, but one-on-one, he should still be making tackles, and he should still be breaking up passes as well. And he's doing neither. Obviously, he led the team. He was second in leading tackles last night, but overall, for 2 games, he does not look, in my opinion, he does not look any better than Greedy Williams at this point as far as corner goes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's been surprising. I was just thinking about the fact that he put on some muscle, and I was wondering if that's a factor in maybe slowing him down a little bit, maybe taking him out of some plays. But I agree, it seems to be an effort issue, and again, I don't know if it's effort or something else.
Menachem, what did you think about our defense last night? Specifically, what was your take on Denzel Ward? Go ahead and kind of elaborate on what you thought being there and being able to see the whole field last night while you were at the game.
All right. So in terms of Denzel Ward specifically, I wonder how much the Demarius Randall injury is affecting him, because without having like the safety valve, which is Demarius Randall, I mean, as good as of a player as Morgan Burnett is, as good of a player as Eric Murray is, they're not on Randall's level. And I wonder if without that safety valve, I think he relies too much on Randall usually. And so therefore, now that he's not there, he's being exposed even more than usual.
Yeah, but he was but then what's the explanation for last game when Randall was?
I think he's looked about the same in the first 2 games, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It was not good. There were points where we were sitting, we're like, what's going on here? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Need to get it together for sure.
In terms of the rest of the defense, I mean, Joe Schobert looked like he was going sideline making plays when he had a few good tackles on Le'Veon Bell, and I mean Miles was just Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
But one thing that personally was very, like, most people probably didn't even notice this, but the first time that I saw Chris Smith come on the field was very, like, it was a nice moment, and like you saw him like stop for a moment, and then he got in there and he did his best to get to the quarterback. I mean, he ate up the blockers that were on him, but he seemed to have played pretty well from there. And Richardson had a few good tackles, and Ogunjobi made a play or two.
Something that I want to emphasize and bring to light is that the presence of Olivier Vernon. He's getting a lot of attention on the defensive line, or from the offensive line, the opposing offensive line, and that's creating space and opportunities for Myles Garrett. But there were so many times where both of them were right there, but then you saw Vernon getting double teamed, and it was giving the opportunity for Garrett. But gosh, between the two of them, man, I don't see why both of them can't be, double-digit sacks on the year. But Vernon is definitely, even though he doesn't have the numbers right now, his presence is definitely there and is being noticed for sure.
Yeah, I think we saw what he can do in the preseason. We know that, and the sacks, we know they can be, those numbers can be misleading.
They'll come.
Yeah, they will. But when guys are double teamed, yeah. It's if anybody gets double teamed on the Browns' defensive line, it's just going to open it up for somebody else.
Right.
Also, it's harder to get around, and many quarterbacks are getting the ball out quicker now. That's why a player like Aaron Donald is having such a great impact, because he comes straight up the middle.
Right.
It's a shorter distance. For a defensive end to get around, it's sometimes difficult. So Vernon, in a lot of situations, has done everything right, but got there a drop too late because the quarterback already threw the ball. Right. So that's another thing that goes on.
Who do you think won possession of the game, Rod? Who do you think, or Menachem, both?
Possession?
Yeah, possession time.
The Browns.
It seemed like the Browns, but I mean the Jets had the ball quite a bit later in the game, so.
Actually, it was the Jets. The Jets held possession 30 minutes and 19 seconds, and the Browns held it for 29 minutes and 41 seconds. So
interesting. Pretty close, huh?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was coming from the running. In the second half, or not in the second half, even when Trevor Siemian went out and Luke Falk came in, the run game just started clicking all of a sudden for Le'Veon Bell. I just didn't understand it. I even tweeted about it. I was like, what is happening?
You guys know it's like they know he's getting the ball.
I know, but he was definitely making the most of his opportunities, and as you can see, it wasn't by much of possession time, but he, they outcarried us by 23 yards, so they had 3 more attempts than us. We definitely dominated in the passing at 305 versus 169, and that's to be expected, especially with Luke Falk in there, and then also Trevor Siemian, But the
Browns were willing to let him run a little bit versus when they're up that much versus giving up big play
right
on the field. So it's understandable.
Overall, I'm happy with the win. It wasn't a clean win by any means. The broadcasting and the announcers for the game were absolutely terrible. Menachem, there was tweet after tweet after tweet about how terrible the announcing was. The guy's name was Booger or something, and I was like, maybe that's a nickname, but no, his name is actually Booger. So shout out to his parents for naming their child Booger. Anyway, any last thoughts before we jump into projections for the Saturday night game versus the Rams?
I just kind of look at it as a process of going from everything kind of looking terrible in Tennessee to really taking a pretty good step forward in this game. And that's kind of what I was looking for. I didn't expect everything to be perfect, so I thought it was a really good step forward, and that's what they got to do is keep building, week by week, and hopefully keep getting better. And I know they're playing tougher competition from the Jets, but they have to get closer and closer to playing, mistake-free football as they go forward.
Menachem?
Yeah, this was a game that the Browns needed. It was prime time. The world was watching, and the Browns did what they had to do. The one thing that I just want to put out there is Austin Seibert, every time he came out to kick, it was right down the middle. We were almost like right by where the middle of the goalpost was, and every time it came in, we saw it coming before the officials put up their arms. We had our arms up. We saw it going through, and it was just amazing. It was great to have a kicker that play so well. Hopefully that continues. And quite frankly, while saying something nice about the kicker, Jamie Gillum had an amazing day punting also. So many of his punts were inside the 20, inside the 10, and it was just great. As much as I was a little disappointed because I was wearing my Britton Colquitt jersey, so but he played great. So got to tip your cap and say great job, and that's that.
He did. He looked good. He really did.
I'm glad you brought that up about the special teams. Austin Seibert was 3 for 3. His long was 48. He was 2 for 2 on extra points. Jamie Gillen had 6 punts for 231 yards. He averaged 38.5, and he had 5 inside the 20 with his long being 47. Rod put that tweet out about who was your Browns MVP for the game, and I tweeted at him, Jamie Gillen, and a lot of people agreed. So I'm thrilled with the Scottish Hammer. I'm glad he's having success, and I think he's only going to grow as a punter and really going to be a huge part of the Browns team and more specifically the special teams. So it's great when you can pin down the opposing offense inside the 20 or inside the 10, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for the Browns defense throughout the season. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we've got game number 3 coming up, another primetime game against the Los Angeles Rams. Rod, I believe you are going to this game, and I think you're going for not only because you're a fan, but for another specific reason. Has to do with Clay Matthews Sr. Go ahead and tell us about that, and then go ahead and give me your projections and thoughts about this upcoming game this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to be going up to the game. I know this is going to be a tough game. I know who the Rams are. They're a very tough team, having gone to the Super Bowl last year, 2-0. This is a start of a really a tough string for the Browns. Not that the first game wasn't tough enough for him, but Clay Matthews Jr. is going to be inducted into the Browns Ring of Honor. He's going to be the first non-Hall of Famer to be inducted into the Ring of Honor, and that's only because he has not yet been elected to the Hall of Fame, even though he should have been. Menachem's here to back me on that. But I'm really excited to be going. Looking forward to hanging out with some people up there and seeing Clay get inducted into the Ring of Honor. It should be a really special night in Cleveland.
And again, you meant Clay Matthews Sr., correct? Not Clay Matthews Jr.?
No, I meant Clay Matthews Jr., Sam. Clay Matthews Sr. is his dad. Clay Matthews III plays for the Rams right now.
Gotcha. Okay, well then I made the mistake there, so I will
We are here to educate.
So I will take that.
Rod, if there's any information about the Matthews family, Rod definitely knows it. So
if I don't know it, Menachem does.
So speaking on that, Rod, go ahead and tell a little bit about how you kind of were trying to help out with the whole Hall of Fame and Clay Matthews getting inducted and getting on the ballot. What was your part in this last couple of years?
Well, I think I don't even really know how it started. I think I kind of started interacting a little bit when his daughter Jennifer started tweeting about it and I kind of got to know her a little bit, and then Menachem started working with me, and we kind of put a little committee together and just we started putting some graphics out on why Clay belonged in the Hall. I mean, like we said throughout that entire process, we weren't trying to get him in. Clay belongs in the Hall of Fame. We were simply trying to present the case for him. He really doesn't need anybody's help to get into the Hall, because if anybody will sit down and look at the numbers and what this man did in his career, he flat out belongs in the Hall of Fame. So we, just 4 or 5 of us, Menachem and I, and Peter Jones and Scott Montgomery. I apologize, Scott, if I'm saying your name wrong. Scott did actually put the graphics together for us that showed some really cool things on how Clay matches up and is really better than a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame on some things he did in his career. So we did this. Jennifer came on the last podcast I did, and we talked for at least a half hour about Clay and his career. We put that out, and Menachem actually wrote an article to put everything together that went out on Twitter. A spectacular article that had all the graphics, and Menachem did a great job of putting everything together. And we stated the case for Clay, and unfortunately he didn't go in. He didn't go in. He did get to the round of Menachem 20?
He was definitely in the 25.
He was in the 25. I'm trying to remember the numbers from last year. But
it goes 25. Then the first they announced the whole thing. It's like 122 people. It goes from that to 25. He definitely made that. I don't remember if he made it to the 15.
Yeah, he made it. He made it to the 25. I don't think he made it to the 15 last year. I don't.
And then the 15 gets cut down to the few that actually make it into the Hall of Fame the night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So this year, I mean, his image is on the ballot, and a lot of things are putting out. So I don't know. We did a lot of the legwork in trying to put some stats together, and made some calls to the Browns to find out how many sacks Clay had that weren't, because they weren't when Clay first started playing, they weren't keeping track of sacks. So we found out how many sacks he had that weren't counted, things like that. So we did some legwork for that, but Jennifer Matthews has really been the one that's been out talking and doing a lot of the work, because she's more in the public eye than any of the rest of us. Let's put it that way. So we're just very happy to be able to help her in this pursuit, because this is really Jennifer trying to do this for her dad, because Clay is not the kind of guy that wants to draw the spotlight to himself. So it's really just the rest of us have this love for Clay Matthews that we're trying to trying to state the case for him.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really memorable and great time and moment for the Matthews family this weekend versus the Rams. And it's also really, really cool that his son is actually playing on the opposing team, so that he's actually able to be there too. Not that he wouldn't not be there anyway, but pretty cool that he's on the other side of the field. So, like I said, great moment for the Matthews family. Really excited, and congratulations to Clay Matthews Jr. And let's dive in and give our projections of what you think the outcome will be for the Browns versus Rams coming up.
Are you asking me to start, Sam?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Well, I think it's interesting when you and I went through the schedule back a few weeks ago. I think before the preseason even, I think we both had this as a loss, and I think it's, especially seeing the way the Browns offense is playing right now, I think it'd be kind of foolish to think the Browns are going to go in and just light up the Rams, especially with the defense and Aaron Donald. The Rams have been playing pretty good football, so for me, I think the best hope is that this Browns defense can really, really excel and hopefully keep this game low scoring, and that the Browns offense can somehow, figure out a way to get some points on the board and hopefully play a lot better. So, I'm hoping for a close, kind of lower scoring game, but I don't think the Browns are going to be able to pull this one out. And I hate to pick against the Browns, but I just have to be realistic. I'm going to say that the Rams win a close game. I'm going to say 17-14 Rams.
17-14 Rams.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Menachem.
Okay, if I could just also say a quick thing or two about Clay Matthews Jr.
Yeah.
So
sure.
First of all, something that gets overlooked a lot with Clay Matthews Jr. is his versatility. And he played in both a 3-4 and a 4-3 defense, in both the inside and the outside. He was an inside linebacker in both the 3-4 and 4-3. He was also an outside linebacker in a 3-4 and 4-3. Very different responsibilities, and each of the times he played great. He had great seasons, and really as a Browns fan, not as long as Rod has been, but I remember Clay Matthews somewhat towards the end of his career, and it would just mean a lot to have a player that I cheered for, that I rooted for, go in, especially since the numbers just say that he deserves it. And one just interesting little factoid about him is that both he and Ozzie Newsome were first-round picks of the Browns in 1978. And Ozzie's already in, so let's get his draft mate buddy in there as well.
That's right. That's right.
All right. In terms of the game this upcoming Sunday, it's hard to pick the Browns to win. The way that it can happen is, one, the Rams are not always great in primetime games. Also, having to travel from LA to Cleveland, the traveling is always somewhat of an issue for some reason for Western teams out west. And listen, Rod picked 17-14. That could easily be 21-17 Browns with a play here, a play there. So I'm hoping it'll be close so that the Browns have a chance to win it. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful game. And I'm happy that Rod's going to be able to be at the game cheering on the Browns and cheering on Clay Matthews as well.
That's good stuff. So we've got one Browns loss. Menachem, you were hoping for a Browns win, but you think that it would be a loss. Am I correct there?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was saying.
Okay. All right.
Kind of a little straddling the fence, are we?
Yeah. Look, I'll go 17-14 also. That makes that score sounds right. I'm just saying.
Oh, for the Rams.
Yeah, one good play and there it is. The Browns win. I'm just saying.
I gotcha. All right, Sam. Are you gonna go strong with your projection?
I am going to go 28-17 Rams. Just the way we've been playing, I think Aaron Donald is going to be a major, major problem for our offensive line. Baker's inaccuracy at this point, him wanting to hold on to the ball too long, and just to put it point blank, Baker just not being Baker. I've got to go with the Rams. I don't want to. I would be absolutely ecstatic to see the Browns come out and win against such a high caliber team as the Rams. But, we talked about Denzel Ward and our defense. They've got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Todd Gurley, and then they've got some other backs. I think Malcolm Brown is one of them that's really been doing well. Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. He knows how to, play well besides the Super Bowl, but he's a good quarterback, and I've just got to go with the Rams here if I'm just being completely honest. So 28-17 Rams.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank Menachem for joining us. And do you have any final words, Menachem?
I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Sam and Rod, for allowing me to come on and just talk to you guys about the game and about the Browns in general. I'm looking forward to a great continued year with the Browns, and I appreciate the friendship with you guys, and I look forward to that continuing for many years to come.
Hey, Menachem, real quick, do you want to go ahead and explain the series that you are doing on BigPlay.com?
Sure. So this, as I'm sure everyone knows, this is the 100th year of the NFL. And to honor that, we came up with the 100 personalities that people should know about. Some of the people on the list are Hall of Famers, like Reggie White, and some of the people are, coaches that everyone knows about, everyone's heard about, Belichick. I don't want to give up too many people, but and it goes through the different people. The first, from 100 to 60, we did it in blocks of 10, so there are 10 people in each article. It was a little shorter, and then for the top 60, myself, and two other writers, Jack and Josh, have split up the top 60. And I wrote one recently about Jack Kemp, who played quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He was also a vice presidential candidate in 1996. So he wasn't necessarily the best quarterback in the world, but he has an interesting story. Another one I just recently did, the most recent one I've done, was about a wide receiver named Willie Gault. He played for the Chicago Bears in the '85 season when they won the Super Bowl. And a lot of people remember his big catch in the game, but what a lot of people don't know is that before he joined the NFL, he was a world-class sprinter, and he would have been in the 1980 Olympics had the United States not boycotted the Olympics. And after his NFL career, he's gone into acting. He's been in a few TV shows and whatnot. So it's while there are a lot of people who are just like the best of the best, sometimes it's like a no-name guy who has something interesting about them. So it's something that I like these kinds of stories, and I figure that other people might enjoy them too. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, guys, I've read a
Excellent.
couple of them. They're excellent. Go ahead and make sure to check those out from Menachem Ikovitz on BigPlay.com, and they're a great read. You don't want to miss them. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to close this out here, guys. Again, you can follow Menachem at Menudo_man. You can follow Sam at the Sam Mad. Follow me at ClearRodB, and you can follow the show at the Browns Blitz. And you can find us on The Grueling Truth, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and a couple other places. Thanks for your support, and we will catch you all next time.